The cycle began in 2005. I was actually writing one piece for a art song competition. A friend of mine, Ashley Dennison, she likes to write and writes very well, and I happened to read some of her text from some of her poems and found one about ravens that I really enjoyed, so I set it to music with her permission, and that was sort of the beginning of that. A friend of mine, actually the one who sang the piece for its premiere, Angie Edwards, shortly later came to me with another text that she had written, which became the second movement of the cycle, called the Raven's Progress. When she presented that with me, she also suggested the idea of turning it into a song cycle, which I immediately thought was a fantastic idea. A typical song cycle, though, is usually a collection of poems by one author, let's say like Emily Dickinson or William Shakespeare, where the texts themselves don't necessarily relate to one another. The only glue is that they were all written by the same person. What I've done instead with this set is, instead of choosing the same author, I've chosen the same topic and instead chose 7 different authors. So with that, I was able to get very different perspectives and very different symbols for what the raven meant. The first one, the raven, I later discovered was Ashley's symbol for her lover, now husband. In the second one, the Raven's Progress, the raven actually represents the angel of death. And in that one, the text explains that the raven actually takes the soul to heaven. Then from there, I just started searching for text online and where else. I actually considered using the famous Edgar Allan Poe set, but it was just so long and I just couldn't, do bits of it, so I decided not to even do it. Plus, I thought maybe it was a little cliche. So eventually I found all the text, which became the full set. The third one was actually the last movement I wrote, called The Mad Hatter's Riddle, which comes from Lewis Carroll's book Alice in Wonderland. The whole text actually comes from several of his fans who wrote possible answers to the riddle, why is a raven so much like a writing desk, which Lewis Carroll included. The fourth movement, another metaphor, uses the raven as a guardian, protecting the person speaking the text, which in this case is the singer. The fifth movement is, again, the raven as the angel of death, but this time carrying a soul to hell. And it's quite dark. Yes, it's a really dark text. The sixth movement is actually probably my favorite, and uses the raven as memory, talking about times gone past. And then the final movement, which was written by Nancy Woods, actually, in many ways, is a culmination. The actual title is called Dream Ravens, and while dream ravens are a major part of the text, it also beckons other ravens to sort of come together and make peace and harmony. So there's this sense of unity and finality in this final movement where all the different metaphors seem to mesh together. And it's actually a really beautiful text.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work. Getting to perform such a eccentric piece of music that was definitely a challenge as a vocalist, but it really pushed my limits and got me to do things I wouldn't normally do. It was a lot of fun. It was good.
Alright, my name is Erica Summers. I'm a videographer for Keeka Productions. I was approached by Ryan, I would say 2 months ago, maybe? Two or 3 months ago. And he came to me with a series of music videos called the Living Room Sessions, I believe it's called. And it's a beautiful little session of piano music played to a very intimate audience. And he asked me, is this something that, he's like, I'm very inspired by this. This is something similar. I would like to do something cut out of the same cloth as this. Can you do it? And I said, absolutely. I think that'd be a great project. And so the more we worked on it, the more I got involved with recommending different colored bulbs for different pieces of the movement. I'm very big on 80s film, and as many of you know, 80s movies are filled with color, lots of bursts of color, lots of slivers of color on people's faces. I'm always very inspired by that, so I recommended to him that we do some fun with the different color psychology, and so we chose different colors for different parts of the movement based on the color psychology. Like, for example, the last piece was basically an amalgam of all of the other pieces in the movement, and so we chose to do all white with some little tea lights, and the reason we did that was because white is symbolic of all of the colors combined. So it would be like one of the earlier pieces in the movement mixed with another to make white. And my favorite of all of the pieces to film was Unsaved. That one is by far my favorite, just because we get to play with the lighting and do some really dramatic stuff with the lighting. We did some bright red colors from below and some bright blue colors from above, sort of symbolizing hell and heaven and being dragged to hell. And I just thought that was a really moving piece to watch Ryan play, like covered in that red light, you know, looking like he's playing angrily in hell, and she's singing so angelically, bathed in the blue light and everything. I really enjoyed the opportunity to be able to play with the colors and to get so much creative freedom with it, because I rarely get to do that. So.